In the heart of Africa lies a nation whose veins pulse with liquid gold. The continent's behemoth stands as the 15th largest oil producer globally, fueling over 70% of its international trade. But beneath this glossy surface lies a stark reality. Nigeria, despite its oil riches, grapples with a profound crisis, one that bleeds its economy dry. Imagine this: over a quarter of its oil pilfered from right under its nose. At its peak in 2011, Nigeria gushed forth 22 million barrels a day, a testament to its oil prowess. Fast forward to today, a mere trickle remains, struggling to meet OPEC's gaze with a meager 1.2 million barrels. The numbers paint a concerning picture. Over the past 14 years, Nigeria has hemorrhaged over $40 billion of crude oil to theft. But how does this grand larceny occur? Why does it persist unchecked? And who bears the weight of this colossal loss? As we dive deeper into the murky world of oil theft, we uncover a complex web of collaboration between skilled thieves, politicians, armed forces, and sometimes even oil companies themselves. At the heart of this illicit enterprise lies a method known as hot tapping, where thieves drill into active high-pressure oil pipelines, connecting a secondary illegal pipeline to siphon off millions of dollars worth of oil. This clandestine operation, though risky, offers immense profits over time as thieves discreetly drain the pipelines. But with innovation in theft comes innovation in defense. The problem of hot tapping has birthed a market for technology-driven solutions, monitoring oil pressures for unusual activity to combat theft. Yet, as these defenses strengthen, so do the tactics of the thieves. Enter cold tapping, where a portion of the pipeline is sabotaged, diverting oil flow and allowing for discreet attachments of a second illegal pipeline during repairs. While Nigeria's oil fields yield billions in revenue, it's the ordinary taxpayer who bears the burden. Each year, the government allocates billions to subsidize the oil industry, including exploration, infrastructure, and aid against theft damages. These subsidies, particularly for gasoline and diesel, aim to stabilize the economy through price caps, making fuel more affordable for Nigerians. However, they inadvertently fuel theft, as stolen oil becomes lucrative on the black market, especially in neighboring countries. Terminal and transport vehicle theft further exacerbate the issue. Port terminals, where oil awaits international shipments, are often targeted by major heists. Compromised security or administrative collusion allows oil barrels to vanish into criminal hands, sold at higher prices abroad. The question arises, why persist with subsidies if they fuel theft? Nigeria's leadership contends that subsidies benefit the people, reducing the cost of living. However, critics argue that corruption siphons these funds, as seen in the $6.8 billion stolen from the oil subsidy program over a 3-year period. So, as Nigeria grapples with rampant theft, the debate over subsidies rages on. Are they truly benefiting the people, or are they merely a smokescreen for corruption? And in a nation rich with oil, who truly benefits when billions disappear? Anyone who starts looking at Nigeria's oil industry would quickly encounter a pattern of startling lack of accountability. Daniel, the acting director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, who, when faced with questions about financial mismanagement in a televised hearing in 2020, dramatically fainted. His collapse serves as a poignant metaphor for the chaos that ensnares Nigeria's oil sector. But this turmoil didn't emerge overnight. Government corruption and Nigeria's oil have been entangled since the 1970s. In 1971, Nigeria joined OPEC and swiftly escalated oil production. The establishment of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation in 1977 granted the government and oil sector a monopoly, laying the groundwork for pervasive corruption. Scandals erupted in 1979 when billions in oil revenue mysteriously vanished, sparking widespread criticism of the government's opaque management of oil contracts and revenue distribution. Decades later, A 2014 World Bank report exposed the government's improper awarding of oil contracts worth billions. In 2015, Muhammadu Buhari campaigned for president on a platform promising to privatize Nigerian industries and eradicate oil corruption. However, his efforts to centralize revenue collection backfired, exacerbating a currency shortage and plunging Nigeria into its first recession in over 25 years. Amid economic turmoil, the Niger Delta Avengers, a militia group from the oil-rich Delta region, launched attacks on oil rigs, crippling Nigeria's oil production to a 20-year low. This crisis forced major oil corporations, beneficiaries of subsidies and government collusion, to reassess their operations in the country. Nigeria's oil industry stands as a cautionary tale of unchecked corruption and the devastating impact it can have on a nation's economy and its people. But how does all of this add up, and what does the future hold for Nigeria? While the Nigerian taxpayer hopes for a brighter economic future, their country's oil riches are being plundered with impunity. Allegations surface of oil companies like Shell bribing officials for rights to lucrative offshore oil fields, shedding light on corporate malfeasance. In 2011, disaster struck as 40,000 barrels of crude oil spilled from a Shell tanker, ravaging the environment. Unlike Exxon, which faced hefty fines for the 1989 Alaska spill, Shell remarkably evaded legal consequences in a 2022 court decision. This raises troubling questions about global corporate responsibility. How is it that Shell, operating in Nigeria at a subsidized cost, avoided liability for the damages caused by the spill? Efforts by affected Nigerians to seek justice hit a legal wall, with the UK Supreme Court ruling it too late to sue Shell for the 2011 spill. It appears to be a case of smoke and mirrors, shielding Shell from accountability in the regions they exploit for profit. Today, Nigeria grapples with mounting debt, much of it owed to international financial institutions and countries like China. This financial burden further complicates Nigeria's geopolitical priorities, overshadowing any hopes for economic reform. President Tinubu's administration, like its predecessors, embarks on a bold journey promising economic reform. However, the dismantling of Nigeria's petrol caps raises uncertainty about the future of the oil industry. Will it mark a new beginning or spell the end of Nigeria's oil saga? Only time will unveil the fate of Nigeria's oil industry and its economic trajectory. In summary, Nigeria's oil industry is a tangled web of corruption, exploitation, and missed opportunities. Despite being blessed with vast oil reserves, Nigeria's economy continues to suffer as billions of dollars vanish into thin air due to theft, bribery, and corporate malpractice. From hot tapping to terminal theft, the methods of oil theft are varied and complex, leaving ordinary Nigerians to bear the burden of economic woes while a select few profit immensely. The history of Nigeria's oil industry is riddled with scandals and missed chances for reform. Despite promises of transparency and accountability, corruption remains deeply entrenched, with oil companies like Shell evading responsibility for environmental disasters and financial misconduct. As Nigeria grapples with mounting debt and uncertain economic futures, the need for genuine reform is more pressing than ever. Will President Tinubu's administration succeed in dismantling the petrol caps and ushering a new era of economic stability? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear. Unless Nigeria confronts the root causes of corruption and exploitation in its oil industry, the cycle of economic hardship and inequality will persist, leaving the hopes of millions of Nigerians for a brighter future unfulfilled. And that's it for today's video. If you found this insightful, please make sure to subscribe to our channel for more updates.